The Sunday Spank.
Gets me every time.
All right. Party people in the place to be, Vandals and everybody else, man. This is it. Well, not it. Like, this is the final episode of our initial run of Sunday Spank. We are finishing up Deadly Class. This is going to be, once again, for anybody watching, man, like heavy spoilers, man. We're going to be talking about the end of the book, and we're going to go into it. So I want everybody to know that. But before we get into that, man, we're going to do our check-in. And Matt, you got anything to shout out? You watch anything this week?
Yeah, I didn't actually think about it, but there is one of the most beautifully composed animations I've ever seen, whether it's like Japanese or whether it's American, and it's called Scavenger's Reign, and it's on HBO. The whole thing is like Mobius did an 8 or 10 part animation. It has this really. It's basically a like industrial spacecraft that crash lands on this uncharted planet, and there is such a verisimilitude to all the creatures and the danger and the exploration, and it has like a little bit of like magical pretense to it as well, because they kind of get infected and infused with the nature of the planet. And it's kind of a battle against time, like a ticking clock thing, because they have to get back to the ship after they've aborted it through the like escape shuttles. And it's how each of the different people's journeys sort of through the planet are completely different. But the whole thing just feels so organic, and it is the most beautifully illustrated animation I have ever seen. Like I said, it's like a page from a Mobius book. Mobius. Yeah, Mobius. Yeah, that's what I said. John.
Yeah, you got it right the first time.
Yeah. Like the living vampire without the R. Yeah, there's.
Shout out to Phil. Hey, Phil, it's in the chat. How's it going?
Do you know where the animation is out of, though? Like, by any chance, or?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's Western. I think it's Western, but I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
What's it called? Scavenger's Range?
Scavenger's Reign, as in R-E-I-G-N.
Okay, Reign.
It is, because I just popped it on to watch one, like a falling asleep thing, and before I knew it, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was debating the 4th episode. And it's not just how nice it looks. The story is just primo sci-fi as well. Really, really good. Couldn't recommend it more.
They got any rad voice actors?
I won't check it out. I think there's 2 or 3 that you'll know from. It's kind of like C-list celebrities, but they're not celebrities, like actors. Like they're known, but they're as known for the voice actors. It's not like let's just get a bunch of really famous people in to do the voice acting.
Aliyah Shawkat, Bob Stevenson, Yunmi, Mosaku, Sunita Mani, Freddie Rodriguez. People know him. He's a minor guy. What else? Oh, you got Skylar Jasondan. Who else? He was on.
Freddie Rodriguez is not a minor guy. He played El Rey in Planet Terror. All right, man. Freddie Rodriguez is the shit.
Yeah, well, he's in there. You got a bunch of guys like that. Like, let's say B to C listers, probably you'd call them, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of voice acting in there. So yeah. Yep. It's cool. It looks good. How many there's 1 season, 12 episodes.
Yeah.
1 season, 12 episodes. Let's see where if I
Max,
scroll
right?
down.
That's right. Yeah, it's on Max. And it feels you have a satiating conclusion to the story. However, how vast the world is, I imagine there is more stories to be told if they should want to. But I couldn't believe it was one of those things that I was that taken aback by. I thought it was something that I just missed the boat with, but I've not really heard anybody talking about it.
I've never heard of it, man. Like, you're the first person I've heard mention it, and it sounds rad. So I'm definitely gonna.
Well, it just came out this year, right? The first episode dropped in October. Halloween, October 28th was aired. The premiere, October 28th of this year. So
it just stopped. It just ended airing then. Okay.
Yeah.
November 9th was the final. They dropped 3 episodes on November 9th. Episode 10, 11, and 12 all dropped November 9th. Oh, they dropped it in 3 episodes. So they do
like
3 episodes, 3 episodes, and 3 episodes. So they'd release 3 episodes at a time.
Kind of like how Arcane got released.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, so that's a good. I like that. It gives you a little something instead of just one. You get 3. It gives you a little more to, Yeah,
and it gives it time to breathe in for word of mouth to get around. Although it doesn't, it doesn't appear to be the case. But it's beautiful.
Well, maybe I'll have to give that a binge before our Naughty and Nice episode, and maybe it'll make my list.
Well, somebody definitely should.
Cool. I don't have much to check in, Johnny. I just off your recommendation, I watched the first little bit of Reacher, which it's a fun show. Like you said, he's a quite charismatic character. What's the actor's name?
Alan Richardson, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So he's pretty charismatic. He's got that. Yeah. It was good. It was good. That's
an
all.
Absolute mountain of a man as well, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
It's weird to see. It's weird to see a guy his size and like looking like he does playing good guys in something. He's got like a traditionally villain look to him, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of interesting seeing him play the pro tag.
Yeah.
And there was the controversy with the Tom Cruise, the 2 Tom Cruise films, was that in the books, so in the novels, he is supposed to be this towering behemoth of like unbridled power. So when Tom Cruise,
they hired that midget.
They got the smallest man available. it was either him or what's his name from Game of Thrones? Tyrion.
Snow? Jon Snow or
Jon Snow's short as hell too, but he was talking about Peter Dinklage.
Dinklage. Okay, a literal little person. Yeah.
I tell you what, though, he's such a good actor. I don't know if this is politically incorrect or not, but when you watch him, even in things like Days of Future Past, you just forget that he is a smaller person. Like that is how. There's a film that me and Tim, and my co-host from the End Podcast, which is available on all your favorite listening locations, and we watched it was a adaptation of Cyrano de Bergerac, and it's just called Cyrano. And Steve Martin did a comedic one, didn't he, called Roxanne in the 80s. And it's so good. I don't even like musicals that much, but it is so, so good. You sort of believe how he's so fascinated in love with Roxanne, the character. But it doesn't seem like an asymmetric thing because of what your expectations are for what's his name? Sorry, John.
Dinklage?
Peter Dinklage. You forget that there is like an asymmetric physicality about the love triangle, but you just believe it. I honestly think he's one of the best actors that we have at the moment.
Yeah, he's solid. He's good. I don't think he's done
he plays like tragic, sort of misunderstood role really well.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he's been in a bad role, really. And if they are, he makes them good. So, yeah. How about you, Johnny, man? You have anything?
Yeah, I read a bunch of stuff. Like I said, I read some stuff pretty pertaining to this. I reread Kaya by Wes Craig. I really like that book. It really makes me think that Wes Craig's like me. He was a big fan of the character Saya because Kaya's a lot like her. Like it's kind of, but like done in like this kind of really cool, once again, Mobius like sci-fi style. I highly recommend it, man. If you haven't checked out Kaya yet, definitely get into that. And then I reread some old Remender stuff. I read Sorrow, which is co-written by Seth Peck and drawn by Francesco Foncavilla.
Okay.
Really cool, kind of haunted town, Hills Have Eyes type thing. Like it's worth a look. And then I also read Crawl Space XXX Zombies. That's that porno zombie comic I was telling you about. It's kind of like the most Garth Ennis thing Remender's ever written. A lot of fun. And then my sister got me for early Christmas present. Got me Where the Body Was by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Their new book. And oh, dude, that was so much fun. It's probably my favorite thing they've put out in a long time. It's not as hard boiled as the regular stuff. This one's kind of more about like this odd neighborhood and this group of characters and this situation that happens over the summer. It's really, really cool, man. Like I highly recommend.
Is that a new release?
Yeah, brand new.
Brand new? Okay, cool. Yeah, I saw you posted about that. I didn't know if that, because you reread a lot of your older stuff too on a regular basis. So I didn't know if that was like an older thing you had or if it was a new release. So
no, it just came out.
Cool, very cool. Yeah. All right. Any shows to shout out, Johnny, or just the book?
Oh well, I started the second season of Reacher because that's going right now.
Yeah. They
put
3 episodes deep.
3 episodes in, and it's a lot of fun. I kind of thought at least the setup for the first season was a little funner. I kind of like the mystery of it better, but this one's pretty cool. I like the new characters, and
he had like a new partner, right? Some little guy about the size of Tom Cruise.
No, it's a bunch of guys that he used to work with when he was in the army. Like they're kind of getting off. There is kind of a little dude, but like that the girl Neely, she's back with them, and then there's another girl, and
Yeah. They had to get him a smaller co-star, right, to make him look bigger. You know, you get the smaller guy, so it makes him look even more massive. Yeah.
I think he makes pretty much anybody look small. You have to get somebody like Henry Cavill. I think it might be a little bigger than him, but
yeah. Well, I went and looked because when he's in the prison, when he takes on all those guys in the shower, and he's like, like something about his height that he goes, I'm 6'5", and I was like, oh, he's 6'5". That's fairly tall, like especially for actors, you know. So then I was curious. I was like, is he really 6'5"? I know he's a big boy. So I went and checked, and he's actually 6'2". So, yeah. I was just curious to see if he was actually 6'5" or not. But
well, you know what that did to the capture.
Still fairly tall, though. I mean, that's just minor details. All right. Awesome. So are we going to get to it? Let's dig into this. Deadly Class, book 4.
Before we get into the synopsis and everything, how did you guys feel about this this conclusion, man? Like, how do you rate it as like an ending to the story before we get into it?
I loved it, man. I like how he handled it was like cut into like 5-year blocks, so it skips pretty quick into the future of the characters and where they're at. And he kind of gives each character like kind of a final little concluding story arc that, you know, so you're not left to wonder, this character, what happened with them? Like he kind of ties up all the loose ends and gives you a pretty satisfying conclusion, I found. You know.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I felt it was, having read so much of it already, and this being the sort of like the reward of reading all the book or the previous comics, that I was just relaxed reading it. I was just relaxed and enjoying it.
I was gonna ask you about that. Like how you felt, kind of like they kind of rushed the last one and had too much action. How did you like the pacing of this one? Was this one a little bit thinned out for you? A little kind of moved a little better for you?
I think it took me a little while to be used to it, and I think there was a point similarly to the last deluxe edition that I was like, oh, I'm not too sure if I like the pacing of this. And then there was a little reveal, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. And then, like I said, my shoulders just dropped another half an inch, and yeah, I just enjoyed because I know this is going to sound really tacky, but when you read something this good, and I mean, how many issues have we got through? 50, 60, something like that? Is it more?
45 up to this point.
Yeah. It's kind of like you making holiday friends, and you're just eager to see that it works out well for them because you've invested in them emotionally up to this point. And I just wanted, I won't say if it does end up all right or not, but I was just relaxed. I was relaxed and just enjoying the ride on this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the characters get closure one way or another.
There's one thing I will say. You know, my only peeve in the whole of this, and it still remains my only peeve in this, that I felt the conclusion to the third Deluxe, I was like, oh, I don't understand. And in the first few issues of this, I felt like Rick Remender was personally apologizing to me, saying, look, I know that wasn't for you, Matthew, but don't worry, we're taking care of it. We're tidying it up and we're moving on as quickly as possible. So thank you, Rick.
How about you, Johnny, man? What were your thoughts for the way he closed this out?
I was really happy with it, man. Like I gotta say, like out of a guy that does like a bunch of series that I read, Rick really kind of sticks his endings most of the time really well. Which is cool because he kind of comes from that same like Garth Ennis school, and like Ennis can't end a story to save his life, man. Like I love his books, but like his endings are messy and rushed, and like Rick does not have that problem at all. So like I was really happy that with how well he pulled the ending of this one off, because I had read a few of his endings before this. I'd read the ending of Black Science and Low, and then like I got to this one, and I actually think this is probably his strongest ending out of like the ones that I would say like were really profound stories and had ending. Well, like I like that. And even we'll get to it, but like,
it had a little bit of everything, right? It had tragedy, it had a feel-good ending, it had a
I think I think he had a different ending and plan for this. I think he even says that while writing this, but he came up. He didn't think that was actually an appropriate way to end it, and kind of changed it up because of a certain clarity that he got during the pandemic. I think that's interesting. Because for the longest time, I thought he was going to end it that way. I mean, I literally thought that. But to catch you guys up to where we were when we left off, which doesn't really matter, but like I still want to do it anyways. Is there was a big party at Stefano's house?
His cabin, his chalet,
they got attacked by Helmut and his death metal Viking assassins, and basically,
Matt, what are you doing over there?
Yeah,
you're causing a ruckus, man.
What's going on?
We can hear you. Every little thing you do, it's like you're on hyper sound or something.
Let me turn it down then. Let me turn it down.
Yeah, I can hear you every time you take a shot of your vape. You can hear it going through like the.
That would be incredibly annoying.
And every time you touch something on your desk, we can hear it too, like a huge like echo coming through. Yeah. I think it's like your background. Maybe there's a background sound setting that's maybe not on or something.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, this it's coming through my headphones and not the mic. I tell you what, give me a second. I'm going to mute and then let me figure it out. Yeah, because it's coming through these and not this.
Yeah. Perfect. Sounds good.
So yeah, like I said, they were at Stefano's Châtelet, and they got attacked by Helmut's death metal Viking assassins. Meanwhile, like Marcus caught Stefano and Maria totally tagging in the woods. So it leaves with us believing that somebody gets shot out there. Meanwhile, Saya is handcuffed to a burning building, and that's basically where we get left off, right, Joe?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Everyone's like, you think everyone's going to die again, right? And you had the scene where the reason why I jumped into this right away after finishing the other one is the cliffhanger where Marcus turns his gun on Maria and Stefano.
Yeah.
And I was like, is he going to do it? Is that hypocritical motherfucker going to shoot Maria for doing exactly what he was planning on doing like 15 minutes before? He was planning on going to bang Willie's sister. What's her name?
Jayla.
Oh, yeah.
Jayla.
Yeah.
Then he sees that, woo, Saya and her are hooking up. So now he's all like blue balled and like frustrated. So he runs out into the woods and finds Maria banging Stefano. So, I was like, if you shoot her, man, you're a fucking hypocrite. And then like Saya, like you said, tied to the post. The only way to get out is to cut her hand off. Is that what she did to get out of there? Or did she find another solution? We don't know. So I picked this one up and I cracked it open right away. And of course,
it jumps to 1991.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. I was like, motherfucker.
2 years later, yeah.
Yeah. Marcus is back into his old druggy habits.
Yeah, he's living in Arizona, and he's like crashing with these dudes, like partying every night. He's selling this particularly hardcore batch of ecstasy that's cut with heroin, and yeah, he's just you don't really know what he's up to. He's just being fucking Marcus in 91, kind of at first. He's still the same guy talking the same shit. And like we catch him at this party. He's hanging out with his friend who like always wants him to share his drugs with everybody, especially him. And Marcus isn't down with it. But like he meets this one girl and she's just like soppy sweet, but like you can tell she's a kind of a poser. And like he keeps trying to
shirt tucked in with the belt and everything. Come on. The high-rise jeans with the she's just girl next door material big time. Daddy's little girl.
He keeps trying to blow her off, which makes her more interested. Yeah, she just keeps following him.
Her panties with each rejection, her panties get more and more wet.
Well, they have a really cool talk about like what it means to sell out, what it means to be like true punk and all that stuff. It's pretty neat. And like she calls Marcus out on a lot of his bullshit. She's got some pretty good arguments, man. Like
she does have some valid arguments for sure. Yeah.
And you get this really great scene of them by the pool. Like, oh man, dude's coloring is on point in this, man. Way to go.
Especially the one where you get a close up of her when she dips her foot in. You have that one right there, that top left panel, like with the reflection of the water and everything. So good. So yeah, they end up taking ecstasy, and you don't really know what happens with that because it kind of switches to show you what Marcus is up to, and you think he's just kind of like going through having a normal job, you know what I mean? But like he's having like these kind of crazy memories of what might have happened at King's Dominion. You don't quite know yet, but like he's working as a Domino's pizza boy, and God damn. But we'll get to that. I went to the. I jumped ahead, but like basically you find out Marcus is doing jobs in Arizona. Like as a pizza guy, he's actually going around doing hits. Yeah. And he gets warned that he's going to get fired because sometimes his hits don't coincide with his pizza deliveries.
So
how's the sound now?
You're just maybe. It's still a little like every time you touch your desk or put something on your desk, we can hear it, but. It's not as bad, but it's still pretty, yeah.
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, no. Anyway.
I'll just sit really, really still.
Really still. Yeah, it's all right.
I'll do my responses in ASL.
All right, let's go.
All right. So after a particularly brutal hit, Marcus kind of feels like he's irregular, like he hasn't gone to the bathroom in a couple of days. So he decides he's gonna like stop by the store, get himself a nice bag of goodies to help him get things moving along, let's say. And like he yells at his friend, tells him he's not gonna give him free drugs anymore, but like he's in his bathroom, he's doing this wonderful ritual of trying to break loose some luggage with the at-home enema when his nice new girlfriend comes in and catches him with a bottle up his ass. And as he chases her to try to tell her it's not what it looks like. He kind of soils himself and gets
Yeah.
attacked by an assassin.
Yeah. So he gets into a fight in a towel full of shit. Yeah. So not only is she terrified from him soiling himself, she's terrified of him completely murdering this guy in front of her eyes. Yeah. It's a dual-edged sword. Marcus is a man of many talents of horrifying people with his fecal matter and his killing skills.
And I want to talk to Wes Craig, man. This panel here has mad Eduardo Rizzo looks to it. Like Marcus Hella looks like Lono from 100 Bullets right there, man.
And Rick Remender, let's say you have a casual conversation with Rick Remender. Do you think it ends up turning to conversations about poo, or like there's a lot of poop jokes, poop references, a lot of poop in his books. Well, Deadly Class anyway. I don't know if it's like that in much of his other work, but Deadly Class definitely have a lot of poop references.
Not really. Like Deadly Class is his only book where he has a lot of shit in it. Like
yeah.
I
mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy poop. So, I love the poop content, man. It's always a good time. Yeah. Yeah, and that panel that you were saying too is fantastic. Beautiful panel. Just the pools of blood and everything with the reflections. Did you notice the reflection of him at dead? His age progresses as younger in the reflection pool of blood to him as a little child. Yeah, such a nice touch. Beautiful.
There's kind of almost like a prehistoric sort of caveman posture to him as well. Like he's completely like that switch has gone in his head, and he's like
berserker, like a Wolverine. Like when Wolverine goes into berserker mode. Yeah. So this, like, I'm like reading, and I'm hoping to get like that cliffhanger from the previous ending of the Deluxe book 3. But then I get this stuff, and I'm like, okay, he's giving me some poop jokes. He's giving me some pretty gruesome fight scenes, and they end it with that beautiful splash page. So I'm like, oh man, I got to keep going, right? So now I'm hooked. I'm like, this is awesome. This is just great. Like you said, the pool side, the art is like this issue. I think, like we said, Wes Craig's art is so consistent throughout, but especially this issue, like the poolside scenes, some of his best work, right? I mean, it's fantastic.
I loved the book when it had, I think his name was Boyd's coloring in it. I thought the book had like a really, really neat look to it right off the bat. But like, yeah, when it did the switch over and Wes started doing his own coloring, yeah, the book just kind of took on a different life. You know what I mean? It kind of got a little prettier. And
and the year for the chapter opening where he puts the year, right? Like I love those like double splash pages he does. They're all fantastic. Love them all. And it's such a nice touch, like on how you do the year. You incorporate the illustration within the numbers. Loved it. I love that.
I didn't notice at the time, but do they all have like a pop culture cornerstone that's like inserted into the letters?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that when I was going through it.
Yeah, 1991 is Nirvana's, of course. Smells Like Teen Spirit album. Yeah. The baby chasing the money underwater. The other one that Johnny put up was the Titanic. That King of the World scene that is so iconic, for better or worse. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Lion King.
It could. The colors do suggest Lion King. All right, Johnny, man, what did you think? Well, this is it, because this is me. I've never read this before, right? So this is your second time around, and you read it monthly, didn't you, Johnny?
No, I read it trade by trade.
Trade by trade? Okay.
When I got to this, man, like I don't know what I was expecting, but like he always kind of like comes back with the. I was just happy that this one wasn't kind of a clip show episode and it didn't catch you up with everything that happened so far. Like it just neat look into what Marcus was doing, and I thought it was funny that like he completely didn't like tie anything to the cliffhangers from the last part. Because as you know, I always talk about how brutal Rick is with his cliffhangers, and
Mhm.
they don't piss me off, but like, man, like he does never make them easy. He always makes them weigh heavy on you. So like him to just leave it hanging for till you get a little bit of hint in this next issue, kind of what happened a little bit at that night, but you don't really get like any kind of closure in King's Dominion. You just know that like, oh, like they're out of it and someone's trying to kill Marcus right now. And I thought I loved it. I thought it was a really cool way to kind of, because at the time I didn't know that this was leading into the end. I thought that it was still going to be going for quite some time after this. I didn't quite know the timeline that he had for the book. I didn't know how finite it was. So when I kind of read this trade and everyone's like, well, this is the end, right? He's going to be wrapping it up after this. I'm like, no, I mean, kind of, but like, I think he's got a lot more to say. And like,
I think it's really canny as well that he decided to use this form of storytelling, because I think my only criticism, which was at the end of the last Deluxe, was because there was a one-upsmanship with himself to what can now happen at King's Dominion. So I think that escalation, for it to truly be escalation, it can't be linear, it's got to be exponential. So for him to take it up another level, I think there would have had to have been either supreme storytelling, which wouldn't be unfamiliar for Rick Remender, or something that would have completely jumped the shark after that final scene. So I think this is a really smart and precise way of bringing the story back down and re-relating us with the characters, reinvesting us with the characters.
Yeah. It worked on me because, man, I think this one has less issues than the others because it goes from 45 to 56. So it's a 11 issue trade, and the others were all 14 or 15. But I did read through this one a lot quicker than all the others, just because you have 3 other volumes of story, right? And you know this is the final, this is the final volume. It comes to an end. So all your questions by the final page should get answered. So I'm just tearing through this. Well, not tearing through, just enjoying my reading. I just couldn't put it down, right? So I went through it so quickly and thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, man, he got me. He got me hook, line, and sinker after that big cliffhanger from Deluxe Book 3.
The whole thing is such a quick read, though, and I think you do rip through it, but that is because of the enjoyment, not sort of in adversary to your enjoyment, because there's this catalytic response from the enjoyment to how quickly you whip through it. And I've said it in the previous volumes that in each one I had to stop myself at a point. I did this in three evenings. I went, no, we're not going to enjoy this anymore tonight. We'll just stop now and leave some enjoyment for tomorrow and then the next night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. So issue 46. Marcus meets the old gang again on the boat, right, Johnny?
Yeah, he is hanging out with Zinzali, Jayla, and Tashawi on a boat, and he's kind of talking about the guy that came after him and what he kind of plans on doing, and like they're talking about that night, like you kind of get the big reveal that Helmut's still alive again, like.
And a Speedo nonetheless. Is that like a Scandinavian thing? Because remember Victor had that fanny pack with the short, when he was running around in South America. Now we get Helmut here. He's got a little Speedo.
Northern Europe.
Yeah.
Their style is just something else, man.
But Helmut's back to kind of normal. He's back to being positive. Like I guess after he got shot up, Tashawi and Z found him, and they basically took care of him at the hospital and like helped break his brainwashing. But like he still like kind of has it against Marcus. Like I think he still blames Marcus for Petra. Like you kind of get that type of feeling from like there. But you also find out that Marcus did kill Stefano. And they really lay it on hard to make you think that he killed Maria too, because like there's this great scene where Marcus jumps in the water and you see all his dead friends, and they draw Maria in there, the bastards. But...
Yeah, that's a great scene too. You know what it makes me think of? Marcus is the new prototypical John Constantine. In the way he behaves and acts, you think he's good, but he's also despicable at the same time. You like him, and then you also hate him. He's kind of like John Constantine in a way. where like everybody that he liked or loves ends up dead in the end because of a decision or choice he's made, or you know what I mean? So it's almost like, I don't know if like I don't know. I just, especially with all the dead bodies of all the people, his friends from the past and stuff, it just made. I just saw right away. I saw a link to John Constantine's character.
Preacher as well.
Mm.
What's the guy's name in Preacher?
Jesse Custer.
Jesse Custer. Yeah, Jesse Custer vibes as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So basically, like they decide that like they know that who's trying to kill them or is trying to kill Marcus, so they're gonna go take care of it finally, and they kind of go on a road trip. I love this scene where they drive by this family posing for a picnic. Marcus just yells "fuck you" out the window at him. That's something that I did, man. Like I said, man, Marcus. I think that's the reason why like I find Marcus so lovable and so contemptible, because he's like that piece inside of me I wish would shut up, man. But yeah.
Hey.
At this point,
Okay.
where did you think they were going to? Who did you think they were going to?
I thought they were going to King's Dominion. I didn't think that they finished what they started at this point.
Yeah, you and me both. Yeah.
And we get this great scene at the bathroom where the clown reappears in the mirror.
What? I have a quick question. What's a beaner?
It's a messed up a term for Mexican people. It's a
it's racist slang.
Okay. Oh,
Racist
meaning
slang.
beans because they eat beans.
I don't know what it means, man.
Is the term probably?
That's
okay.
It, yeah.
Okay. Because poor
It's
people can't afford food, so they eat beans and blah blah blah. Okay.
It's used a lot in Breaking Bad as well, isn't it? Hank used it for his partner. You know, when they're having the police banter, he calls him dinner and that. Cool.
I forgot to Google it. I got to get myself a racial terms dictionary. I'm so oblivious to all these fucking discriminatory or racial terms. Like, I had an incident with Johnny where Johnny's like, never say that publicly. Where gigolos? No, juggalos?
Dude, don't say it publicly.
I'm not going to say it, but what is clown called? The clown...
Juggalos, you said it.
Yeah, Juggalos, yeah. I mispronounced the term for juggalos as something else, so, yeah.
Do you want me to explain what a wiener is as well, Joe? When you mark it? Do you know
wieners? No. I'm pretty good with that one, I think. I'm good with
wieners. I've heard you are.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the clarification.
But we do like while they're traveling to where they're going, we do get a flashback to King's Dominion, and you see like this. I love this hallway scene. It reminds me of that scene in Donnie Darko where they play "Head Over Heels" by Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears. Yes.
One of my all-time favorite songs. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great song. Yeah. Good call, Johnny. Yeah, I could totally see that song playing on that scene for sure. Awesome.
And you can see him and Jayla. They're getting ready to do something, man. There's the big assemblies happening for the final, and you see that Saya did lose her hand. Marcus goes to try to warn her about something. We don't, but she kind of blows him off. And he's giving hand signals to Steven in the crowd. Shabnab sees him, and he's trying to warn Professor Lin. Meanwhile, Marcus says, like, hey, let me say a couple words. And he goes up and talks some shit. He basically says that, like, they're going to try to kill the rats today, so let's kill the snakes. And declares revolution in King's Dominion. And that's kind of where our flashback ends. And we kind of go back to them.
When he says let's kill the snakes, was that a little bit too vague for you? Because I didn't know instinctively what he meant by let's kill the snakes.
Oh, I knew right away, because the rats, or the original thing was you kill the rats, right?
Yeah.
So snake is the snake is a predatory animal to the rat. So now let's turn the tables, and this year it's going to be kill the alumni, the upper classes, you know?
But that's not what it was, though, because it was just exclusively the teaching staff. He was saying it's killing the snakes, but we don't kill the students. That was the rule. So the snakes were just the faculty.
Okay, I get what you mean. Like the upper ups. Yeah.
Yeah, see,
But it was
this is
like,
exactly where I was, Joe. I was like,
okay.
what does he mean by snakes?
Or it's, I think, also kill all the students that are like let's say a Victor.
No,
Like
because he doesn't let Steven kill Shabnab in a couple minutes.
I was about
man.
to say that. He stopped
okay, yeah,
Stephen killing
okay.
Shabnam
Got you.
specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's just,
And also, on that note, with Shabnam, if you're Lynn and Shabnam's basically saying the little like weasel that he is, if Shabnam's telling you something's afoot, be careful. If you're Lynn, you've got to give it a second thought. You don't just go, oh, silly boy, leave us alone. Knowing where Marcus like mentally might be, how cunning and the machinations that he could have been sitting on. When Shabnam says, hold up, something's going on, you think he'd give it an ounce of thought. Just a moment.
Marcus is clearly anti-establishment type of person
Exactly.
too, right? So yeah. Yeah. So like you said, Johnny, that's the flashback.
Yeah, and they jump to what they're actually doing, and they're burning down. They found where Petra's dad's cult is and where he's keeping Brandy. Brandy bride. Like, it's so gross, so creepy. I hate to say it, but I actually really felt bad for Brandy here. Like, oh man, like it doesn't excuse anything that she does, but like, man, like she was in a bad spot here. And like, yeah, they basically finally kill Petra's dad and set Brandy free once again into the woods. But
do you think Wes Craig ever had like a hankering for drawing Red Sonja? Because he's got Brandy dressed up in a Red Sonja outfit right there, man.
I would say so, man. Like reading Kaya, like I think that he really liked Red Sonja. Like that's just what I would consider like a pretty much like a fact at this point.
Yeah, because she definitely has that with the armband and like the definitely has Red Sonja vibes going off there, for sure. Cool. So they burn down the cult.
I liked the way that the cult leader drinks his own Kool-Aid. He gets Brandy out of there and says, the message is yours. And then he goes back to die with his followers because he actually does believe that he will reach enlightenment from it. He's not somebody that was just manipulative of people to, just to have crazy sex and to take all their money and stuff. He basically went back and went, I'm going with you, sort of thing.
Yeah, he's not
this is my chance.
A snake oil salesman, right? Like he believes in his own goods.
Yeah.
And what a great final splash page for that. The whole gang standing there with the gasoline cans in their hands, and you see the little cinders floating around in the air. Fucking Wes, man. He smashes these splash pages. Just smashes those splash pages. So good. Yeah. Oh, now we get to hit Saya's backstory, the flashback to her.
Flash forward,
flash forward, sorry, yeah.
So, like, while they're kind of doing this, we find out that Saya didn't really take the Falling of Kings too well. Basically, she's like still in San Francisco, and she's living on the streets and jacking fools to sell their stuff to buy black tar heroin so she could smoke it, basically. And I love this scene, man, where they show her smoking in the park, and they're just kind of going through her like her weird twack routine where she just kind of mobs around and
this is in 2001.
Yes.
Are you going to show that splash page? Yeah, the towers.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's brave, or do you think what else?
I think that's what?
Brave, or do you think what else could he possibly have used?
Well, it's a very. I mean, that was
it'll be tied to that year forever. You think of 2001, you'll think of that event.
Yeah.
And this
9/11, right?
And that issue came out in 2020. It was long after being like, hey, man, is this too soon? Like, they practically have 9/11 greeting cards at this point in America. So, I mean,
fucking hell. It wouldn't surprise me.
I think it's a very marking point in history, right? That no one will probably never forget. So I think
they did it tastefully, and I think that, like, like it is. There's no other way. Like, if they had tried to put, I don't know what else came out in 2001, man. But if they tried to put that instead, people Like I don't think they would identify it with the year as much
Mm-hmm.
as this one. At least for people that lived through it, that were there. You know what I mean? Like
Because if you're of
yeah.
a certain age, you're like, what were you doing when it came on the news? And it
I
dominated
can
the news
remember
for that whole
I can
day,
remember crystal clear. Like
right?
the whole day is burnt into my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like everything, all radio stations, nobody was playing music anymore. It was on every fucking radio station, whether it was news radio, pop music, you name it. That was dominating media nonstop. No shows were playing. This was on your television, the radio. It was everywhere. So I mean, like Johnny said, it's you have to put it right.
And I think maybe I suppose it wouldn't be for the first time because people are still making films in the 70s and whatnot with Vietnam, but it felt like there was immediacy to make films. It was unapologetic in how the experience in which films were being made of it. I mean, wasn't even Tom Hanks in one within 2 or 3 years? It was a fairly unapologetic response by. I want to say that I don't mean like it needed to apologize, but by Hollywood, the immediacy of the.
It wasn't Tom Hanks. It was Nicolas Cage. And
that's it, Nicolas Cage. Yeah,
World Trade Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that year was that. I think that's the perfect one to pick. If you're going to pick an event for that year, hands down, that's the winner. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any pictures of Saya? A good picture of Saya where you can see her face quite clearly. That's a really good one on the bottom right. Something that I always commended Alred for, or Allred, however you say his name, for The Walking Dead, was the almost impossible task of aging Carl Grimes in real time, year by year, where there's just these really nuanced tweaks to make him consistently just look a little bit older without any jumps. But in this as well, because it's what are they, like 3 to 5 years apart? You can tell the aging of the characters without it being overpronounced. Like it's a real, like it's a tough ask, and it's something that's executed perfectly.
Yeah, just a little like you said, little minor details. I think also the styles change of cuts. You evolve as a person, as an individual, and depending on how you're dressing at that time. Like, are you dressing like a younger person too, or an older person of that time? Just the style, the clothes you wear also helps establish an age category of the person. So
are you a school child or are you smoking heroin in the park?
Heroin in the park. Oh, Johnny's connection just shot the bed. Anyway, Johnny will be back momentarily.
What I like about this sequence as well is there is a really fine line between not glamorizing drugs, because look, there's a reason why people do drugs, and that's because you do them and you go, wow, that's fucking great. Can I do it again? The problems are when drugs become a problem. Now, what Rick Remender does really well in this is, in the recreational drug sense, he shows the enjoyment that people take from it, but also how it becomes problematic when it's used as a crutch. And then also in this, the absolute depths that it can take somebody when you think of how driven Saya was to become a like valedictorian and then take over the Yakuza, to this where she's basically commiserating her soul by smoking heroin. And Rick Remender does a really good job of portraying all sides of what drugs can do to people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you get that wacky Vegas to this, where the most motivated, ambitious person becomes just a former shell of themselves, like a withered,
there's a difference. Like, you're going from like recreational fun drugs that you do as a party to like a drug that you do just to, like, once you start doing it, you have to keep doing it to stay normal. Like, there's a world of difference between the party drugs that they did in their youth and like moving up to something like heroin.
I was saying to Joe just before you went as well that it does well to do that fine balance of the enjoyment of it and the emotional toll and the poor decisions that are made, especially with Marcus, even in those parts. So it's not condemning the use of drugs, but it's also not glamorizing it at the same time. And that's a really delicate and a very intricate story to write, and Rick Remender does it perfectly throughout this title.
And I think age plays a big factor in that too, because when you're a kid, you're like acid, this, that. You do it. It's fun. You're partying. You're a free spirit. You don't have any. But then as an adult doing that, we have a different perspective of that person. As a kid, you're like, they're kids, they're young. But when you see someone who's in their adulthood behaving the same way, you're like, they're unhinged. Like there's a negative connotation to it instantly, right? So there's that whole contrast of young people doing drugs and older people doing drugs and the perceptions that come with each. Yeah, and like you said, illustrated perfectly. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
good?
I love this scene where she sees the sign of Brandy and she starts yelling at it, and the sign of Brandy's being all racist, and I think that it's incredible, like, because when Rick started doing Deadly Class, there was no Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know what I mean? Well, she existed, she lived, but like nobody knew who the hell she was. She was just some crazy lady in Georgia somewhere. You know what I mean? But like I'm pretty sure he had the idea to make Brandy into a politician. I think that was his plan for her from the get-go. But the fact that like there was a person that just perfectly fucking
personified
her in reality was like too crazy, man. But yeah, like
icing on the cake, right? It was just too perfect. That's why you think this was the plan all along, and it just happened to coincidentally coincide perfectly with reality.
Yeah,
that's what you seem to think. Yeah,
I think that he had the idea, because like I don't know what else that you would do with characters like Brandy and Shab besides put them in politics as adults. You know what I mean?
Like, and those are two characters, right? Throughout the entire story, right? Of all the villains in this book, Brandy and Shabnab. Well, maybe not Shabnab as much, but especially Brandy, an unwavering belief in her, like in her beliefs. Like never did she think, oh, maybe black people aren't bad, or maybe like her racism never wavered. Like it never came into question, right? She's that prototypical villain from start to finish. Like Victor had a redeeming moment. All these characters have these small redemptions. And even Shabnab, you think he's going to have it, but then he doesn't. And they become your two main villains at the end here, right? And it was the two characters that had the less wavering in their belief system negatively and stuff. And they become, right? And that's why I was like, now as I'm reading it, now I'm like, it makes perfect sense. Never did they waver.
Are you referring to when Victor was hoying D in the cupboards?
Or where he helped them escape in South America by assassinating after Marcus spared his life. Yeah.
I prefer Michael. I like what
Yeah. So yes, I love that splash page you just showed before, Johnny. Great splash page.
Personifying the heroine, her riding the horse and chasing the dragon at the same time, like really good metaphor, man. Like I don't know how many people got that, but yeah, it was a great euphemism for like being a junkie. You know what I mean? Like,
but what's the riding? I know chasing the dragon, but what's the horse?
Calling heroine horse. I don't know. It's just a
term.
Okay.
All right, got you.
It's probably just the H. H connotation, probably.
Well, they also call it the white pony and the horse. I don't know why.
Really?
There are two terms for it that go back to historic. You know, like when Bayer medicine made it. You know what I mean? Invented the shit.
In the UK, we call it riding the pink unicorn.
But basically, after Saya has her weird wig out with the Brandy sign, she wakes up in a strange room. So, like, you see, she still got some moves, kind of, man. She pulls this corkscrew out, and she's gonna go all full gangster on somebody. But you find out it's Marcus, and he's looking pretty stout, man. He's looking pretty good in this.
He's a good-looking guy there.
Slick ass, like his slick ass John Travolta Pulp Fiction pose, almost like. You know, just all nonchalant, cool guy, you know.
Handsome devil, I'd say.
Full on fuckboy Marcus at this point, yeah.
Yeah. Click, all like suave, like, you know.
And we kind of leave that part of the story for the continuation of flashback at King's, and we kind of just see complete chaos, man. That courtyard I showed earlier, it's in disarray, man. Dead bodies everywhere, and Marcus and Jayla are just running it, man. They're telling people where Lynn and the other teachers are trying to sneak out of the basement, and we get this kind of really cool fight scene with Marcus and man, what's her name? DeLuca? Miss DeLuca.
Oh yeah,
Oh
the
yeah,
teacher.
yeah.
The dominatrix teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a doesn't she put him in his place right at the beginning, one of the first classes?
Yeah, she makes fun of him for wanting to kill Reagan.
Yeah. So there's a little history there right from the first issues. So yeah.
We get this really great splash of Steven coming down with his nunchucks, and like, yeah, they're just wrecking fools, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, his splash pages are second to none.
So Marcus and Steven basically got Lynn cornered on the stairwell, and they're about to just lay down the smack.
Yeah.
That's what he has in common with Saya.
Man, I don't remember that. 99. What is this?
89.
Oh, it's 89. Okay, that's why I was going to say. Okay, because with the gutter, I can't see the number as well. Yeah, okay, 89. I was like, the Berlin Wall didn't come down in 99. Okay, that makes sense now. 89.
Yeah, 89's the year that and I love this twist. I did not see this twist coming. This ties into an actual real life event that I lived through, but I did not see it coming in this story. So when it happens, I was just so amazed by it. But like, we get these really great scenes in the chaos where we kind of see all the ghosts kind of leading Marcus through his fight, while him and Steven are kind of getting wrecked by Lynn's old ass. Lynn's actually kind of pretty gangster in this fight, man. He's kind of cleaning house with these two strapping young lads, but like, Marcus kind of gets the upper hand. He's going to smash Lynn, and Saya jumps down and kind of like stops Marcus from being able to kill him, because she still thinks she could be valedictorian. Meanwhile, Steven's trying to get Shabnab, trips him with his nunchucks, busts his teeth out. Man, it's gruesome for poor old Shab.
Poor kid, though. I know, like, all the shit he goes through and gets made fun of. No wonder why he turned into a villain, right? Like, he never had a chance in life. He was predestined to become a villain from all the abuse he had to suffer through his life.
But like, yeah, Marcus talks Steven out of killing Shab. Kind of a dumb mistake in my opinion, but like, whatever. He was on his righteous crusade, and like, he's kind of being led by ghosts at this point. Like, I love that part of this these last couple of story arcs, is because like, during different eras of his life, he's kind of led by different ghosts. It's kind of cool. But we keep getting these really cool scenes. Like, basically Marcus catches back up to Lynn and Saya, and like, Wes Craig goes almost David Mack with this one, man, looking like David Mack stuff out of Daredevil. Love this sequence with her and him squaring off while Lynn's playing the piano. So gangster. And we get this like really cool fight scene between Marcus and Saya while Lynn's trying to hide, and Saya gets the upper hand, man. She's gonna kill him when the goddamn Loma Prieta earthquake sets in, man. Probably one of the most terrifying things I ever lived through. Like, it was unreal.
The layout and those layouts, like how it's breaking apart and it's chaotic. So good.
Yeah, I was going to say again, more examples of how he makes static imagery, sequential art, have a kinetic energy about it. There is a very frenetic panel. Well, it's not even panel to panel at this point, isn't it? You feel how frenetic and energized each page is. Like, it's a rare thing.
So how, like, when this happened, Johnny, where exactly were you?
I was in a town called Pittsburgh in the Bay Area. It's about I don't know, about an hour and a half away from San Francisco. So I was pretty close, man. My dad was actually on the Bay Bridge when it happened. Like, he was.
Shit. Okay.
And so it was a really scary day in my life, man. Like I was actually at my friend Gary's house and we were watching the Weird World Series because remember it happened like right when the A's were supposed to take the field. They were playing the Giants that year. It was like both the teams were literally the teams right there, and yeah, and like the game got called, and yeah, it was fucking freaky, man. So I should have put like 89 San Francisco, all that together, them being underground, but like it was a neat twist, you know, like
For sure. Cool. Amazing decision, right? And it also reflects on as people how little power we actually have in the grand scheme of things, right? How like like at any moment everything can be taken away and it's beyond our control. Like we like to think we have control over stuff. But then like you throw this in there and it just goes to show you how little control we have over things in our lives in general. Like I like that juxtaposition of that. Yeah.
So yeah, basically Lynn gets knocked down. He gets covered by a desk and stuff and like he's trashed. But Marcus decides he's just gonna leave him there, but like he saves Saya, and that kind of leads us to why like we think that Marcus is rehabbing Saya at this point. And kind of this leads into the next story arc, which it's pretty cool. We kind of get we get some major closure between Saya and Marcus's love story. You know what I mean? Like I really like this. Was a 2-issue little arc with Saya and Marcus here. Yeah, it's really good. So yeah, we switched to her brother Kenji. He's like basically gloating over her being right where he wants her, but like he's not going to kill her now. He's going to wait till she's happy again. But like he is going to go buy the sword because I guess she hawked it for smack. And get the really cool scene of like just the room full of smoke with all the goons and everything. And get some Mad Train Spotting vibes here with Marcus talking about how hard it is to help somebody kick the DTs and stuff like that. And it's pretty touching, man. It's pretty cute, like him and Saya kind of going through it, and she basically kind of finally gets healthy enough to where they can go have a meal, and like Marcus is talking to her, and like she actually sees Willie and Billy's ghost this time, which I thought was pretty cool. Like
I just want to interrupt you really quick there. Go like for that scene. What are your feelings about like heavily tatted women, like let's say Saya? Like from that shower scene, you get a good shot of like I'd say 3/4 of her body's covered in tattoos, right? Do you like that, or what do you think of that?
I think tattoos exaggerate whatever you are anyway. If you're a chav and you're covered in tattoos, you look a bigger chav. If you're a cool guy and you've got loads of tattoos, you look like an even cooler guy. I think whatever you are, it exaggerates it.
I think it depends on what kind of tattoos you got. I think if you get like really cool like Yakuza tats like Saya has, yeah, it's cool. But if you have just ugly trash tattoos like Carmi has in the bear, like no, don't do that. Those fucking like you look terrible, man. You look like Gigi Allen's fucking little brother.
Gigi Allen, yeah.
I like if you have like good tattoos, yeah, it rocks.
Yeah,
but if you have just have like
slot
machine numbers and shit tattooed randomly on your body, like no, don't do it. You look terrible, man.
That's true, because I've seen hot chicks with like ugly tattoos, and I'm like, then I've seen a hot chick with a really fucking impressive tattoo, and I'm like, that tattoo's 5 times better now, because so yeah, I dig it. I like it. Like you said, if it's well done, tastefully done, it gets the engine revving, All right, sorry about that, Johnny. I just wanted to have your opinion on that because I was just curious. So I like hers. I like like you said, the Yakuza stuff. I think that's a nice look.
But yeah, I thought it was cool that she was seeing the ghosts in the diner instead of Marcus for once. Like, he's not the only one that carries them around. You kind of see that Saya, like, cared a lot about them too. Like, because they kind of like try to drive it home that she used Willie, and at this point, I don't actually believe that. I think that like we just kind of see Marcus's point of view on a lot of things in the book.
Yeah.
And And we get this really kind of touching scene with them in the diner where he talks about, she says that they used to love each other. And he's like, oh, just because we did it the one time and like, doesn't mean that I ever stopped loving you. So they have, like Joe said, there's like this kind of really violent, hot love scene between the two of them, which then kind of ends in a sad boy note with Kenji watching saying, the kid's good. So you're just like, fucking Marcus, you little piece of shit. Oh
yeah, but man, when I read this, I was like, I like reading like Maria Lovett stuff, like Faithless and all that, and of course you're gonna get really graphic sex scenes and stuff and that. And I was like, for a comic that is an erotic comic, the way they handled this sex scene, I was like, damn, where she pulls the gun and just holds it to him space while they're just I was like, god damn, that's such a nice touch. I was like, then you get that splash page, right, where she just has it right to the under his chin, and so good, so good. But then, like you said, you see the little red light and ulterior motives. But yeah, I enjoyed those 3 pages.
I like this whole 2-issue thing, man, because I love this whole idea of them running through their hit on Kenji, because we kind of get these 2 rundowns that they both kind of have their ideas and like how they kind of both say that like their plans are wrong, and then we get the third one of how it actually goes down. And man, really cool. They basically like load up a diner tray full of room service, but it's got a bomb on it, and basically like everybody evacuates into the stairwell, and while they're in there, Saya drops down while Marcus turns out the lights, and she just kind of fucking executes everybody, like while you get this kind of strobing effect. And the way Wes Craig does it is so damn cool, man.
Yeah.
And like the way she kind of goes up to the delivery boy and like, here, the money, now get out of here, get someplace safe. Like,
yeah with his little fucking teenager stash, just the pubis is starting to come in, poor kid. Probably shitting himself.
So yeah, like her and Marcus, they're still messing people up. Marcus actually does this thing where he's able to shoot through 3 people's heads. He said he was going to be able to do it with 7, but like he was only able to do it with 3, which was pretty funny. And then like he finally pulls the gun and like to Saya's head and tells her he's working for Kenji, and right now is when I'm supposed to kill you, when you think that you're finally going to achieve what you want. But you have a choice to make. We can take off together and we can live happily ever after like you always wanted, or you could go and get your family Yakuza business. And he like leaves it to her. He's like, I'm gonna go wait outside, and you just see him waiting, chilling. He goes in, and finally he goes in and finds this waiting for him. And at this point, like Marcus is kind of lost and broken. He was kind of hoping that Saya would help put him back together. So at this point, he kind of loses himself. But man, this next story arc is really funny too, like because we jump ahead a little bit, and Marcus is kind of like taking on full gigs, and he goes in with like the Nick Fury looking assault gear and stuff like that. He's like, assassin thing like totally seriously, and like he's doing this hit where, but like at this point he's like being led by Lynn's ghost, and Lynn's basically telling him that like he's got to be merciless and everything. So pretty cool change of events. And this is all the way up to 2005 with George W. Bush doesn't care about black people as our signal for this year.
What's this one?
That's Kanye West, isn't it? It's not Kanye West.
Yeah,
with Mike Myers.
With Mike Myers.
Okay, that's what it is. I wasn't sure if that was Mike Myers or not, so I was like, okay, he looks much younger there than he did in the actual video.
Was it at an awards show where Mike Myers was there and then Kanye hijacked it?
They were doing one of those telethon things for money. They were raising, and like it was like a breakaway for a commercial, and they were just supposed to say like, "Hey, call in this number and donate money." And like Kanye just looks at the camera and goes, "George Bush doesn't care about black
people."
And Mike Myers' face is just like, "Oh shit, he went there." Like,
yeah.
So yeah, basically like Marcus is going in and like he's shooting this coke baron and his girlfriend, and like he refuses to shoot the girl because she's just kind of young and dumb. She doesn't really know what she's got herself into. And I love this where he's trying to make his big cool guy escape, but he like wraps the rope around his leg. And he's like,
Yeah.
you got to straighten that out. Otherwise, when that rope goes taut, man, it's going to pull your leg out of socket, man. And you're not going to be able to get away. So he's trying to untangle his leg. And you end up finding out he's doing this hit for Maria. And that was her husband cheating on her. And like, basically, like, it didn't actually do it in the movie, but in the show, like, basically Maria wanted Marcus to kill Chico for her because he was cheating on her then. So I was wondering if Rick kind of threw that in there for fans of the show, or I don't know. It was just a neat little thing, and basically, like, she's kind of telling Marcus to get out of there, but like her guys kind of see her with him, so they're kind of like, "Oh man, you killed our boss," and she's like, "Well, I'm your boss now." But basically, like, her and Marcus have to have a big shootout, and like at first you think Marcus just leaves her there, but he comes back for her because fucking he's Marcus, and like. They have one last hurrah as they like kill all these cartel guys and get away in a boat into the sunset. It's really cute.
Marcus has had a history of making a lot of decisions in his life based from his crotch. So this checks out. This checks the boxes, you know? Yeah. He lets his little man make a lot of decisions for him.
Well, with the way he left things with Saya and like with him having a fresh opening with Maria, did you think it was going to go any other way? Like he is
obviously not. Obviously not.
I mean, I hate
he's just like a lost little puppy, isn't he? But he just goes to whatever lap is nearest and warmest.
Out of the two, anyway. Well, no, because he did he actually date Petra for a while, or was it just like a one and done with Petra?
And then the black girl as well.
Yeah, Jayla. He was trying to hook up with Jayla.
Yeah. So whatever's warmest and nearest.
True. Whoever's in his life then, right?
But are we all, Joe? Or weren't we all?
To a certain point, I guess. To a certain point.
Did you just check to see if Pat was there?
No.
No. Not now. I said that she wasn't there.
Let's move on. I regret. Sorry, I brought it up.
We can't be in the same room together, can we?
Alrighty.
And we get our biggest kind of time jump here. Like we kind of jump ahead, and Marcus and Maria are kind of like doing the regular life thing. Marcus has become a writer. He's like doing a column piece for a nonprofit magazine. It pays shit, and Maria's like taking care of people's kids. Meanwhile, she's kind of like starting to get like this problem with her arms. Like they don't know if it's like fibromyalgia or rheumatoid arthritis or what, but like she's kind of not being able to hold on to things and starting to get really painful for her. And they just don't have any money to take her to the doctor. So it's kind of getting really sad boy times, but they get through it, man. Like they're having a good time. They're eating popcorn, seeing Brandy being racist on TV. They say what everybody says when they see Brandy. They're just like, fucking Brandy, man. God damn. I love that part.
And I love this illustrates just how much of a rock Maria really is as a person. Like through all this pain, she still gets up, goes to work. Like she doesn't like how strong the fortitude of the character. Like I think she's the character that has the strongest fortitude throughout this entire series. All the shit she's been through, and she still rises above it to, to accomplish what she does. It's just
well, one thing that they've kind of always done is they've always kind of shown her as a sweetheart, but then she parties too much. So like you didn't know if she was just kind of being sweet to be full of shit or what. But like with this, seeing her growing up, you see that it wasn't like a put on. She was actually always like that kind of caring person. It just she wasn't too allowed to be in her youth. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I guess she kind of had a wild phase as well. You know what I mean? I guess everybody does. You can't
like everybody. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, you have different stages in your life. You grow, you learn, you mature.
but she really you can tell like she really didn't actually want to be that killer that she was raised to be. Like she wasn't full of shit. Like they were more than willing to just hang it up. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the cool thing you get out of this whole last book here is that like they were done with it until other people had to fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the way they did this with these two characters. I loved it. I thought it was satisfying. It was really satisfying to see it.
Yeah.
Like you have the one panel where Marcus is up with her when she's in pain and just rubbing her, massaging her. You know, like definitely now they've formed like as a couple, as in a relationship, a true unit where they have each other's back. The one lifts the other up when the other one is down, right? And yeah, it's I love, like you said, a great sequence of just how strongly their relationship is built and how much they just mean to each other, right? Through thick and thin.
I think it's rewarding to see as well, despite that Marcus sort of flips from female character to female character, that he does actually, I think he was just waiting for somebody to latch onto him back and give him the opportunity to support someone emotionally.
Well, I think he was ready to stay with Maria nonstop until the Stefano thing happened. It's just she wasn't ready, and she doesn't deal with the stress particularly well. I think that if they weren't planning the whole takedown of King's Dominion, like they might have like been able to make their relationship work younger. But like now that they're older and nothing else gets in the way, they're able to actually like make it work perfectly.
Like if they would have stayed in South America when they were together, that first sequence after they escaped from King's Dominion, like. Yeah,
100%. Can I tell you what just happened? I just went for a comfort break, and I just went into the bathroom, and I was standing in front of my toilet, and I still had my headphones on. And then just before I started, I went, "This is exactly the moment when it's going to switch from the microphone back to my headphones." So I sort of ran back in as quickly as I could and put the headphones back on the desk. He nearly had a musical accompaniment. Because,
that's all right. It would have fit. It would have fit. I mean, going to the bathroom is a very important part of this series, though, as we've learned.
Yeah, it would have had some kind of dramatic irony to it.
Yeah. All right, Johnny boy.
And so like Marcus and Maria, they go to Santa Cruz for a little getaway, even though they don't really have the money. And Marcus proposes to her, man.
Yeah.
And, she's like, "You're not just doing this because I'm sick." And he's like, "Nah, man, like we should have done this a long time ago." And we get like my favorite callback. They go back to Vegas, and this is the last time Marcus sees the clown, at least in our presence. This is the last appearance of the hallucination clown. And
the clown even looks a bit more jolly, doesn't he? He looks like a friendly clown now, even with his sharp teeth.
Well, that's the thing. They're like looking at Vegas now, and they're like, "Man, it was such a dangerous place when we were kids, and now it's like fucking goofy." You know what I mean? It's kind of like a joke version of itself. You know what I mean? So
it's so big. It's so like some things in the distance, and it's big, and then you walk for 100 meters, and it's the same size in the distance. The enormity of the place is just absolutely mind blowing.
I haven't been. I'll have to go for a weekend one time and just. I've heard a weekend is more than enough. You don't want to go for a week, is what I've been told.
My dad got married in Vegas, and I was sharing a room with one of his friends, and he dropped out because he was poorly. And he said, "Do you want to bring a friend?" So I said to my friend Chris. So me and Chris, as you are, you get up at 2 a.m. to get in the cars to get to the airport. So it's like 7 a.m., but it feels like the middle of the day. So you're drinking at the airport, you drink on the plane, you get to Vegas, you drop your bags off, everybody meets up, you're drinking, and then we go on this massive bender till 6 a.m. So we've gone from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. plus the 8-hour time difference. And Christian just like, he just starfishes at the top of these stairs, and he's just like, "Just leave me here for a minute." And all these American tourists are going past, they'll go, "Hey buddy, are you okay?" Looking at me like, "Aren't you going to help your friend up?" And I was like, "Zofol pissed up twat." Like, they were absolutely aghast that I could just stand there, like, waiting for him. I was like, no, he's better off. He just needs a rest.
Good old Vegas. Yeah.
Um,
So
and
we get a good shot, right, of the old gang now. They're all aging.
That's great. It's great.
Yeah.
So you see, it's nice to see that Zenzeli and what's his name? Tashawi. Tashawi is still together, yeah. And Helmet, he's got the little beer gut going on there, you know, with the handlebar mustache. Nice touch.
This kind of feels like a victory lap. Do you know what I mean? Almost like epilogue to Deadly Class with what we've read prior to this. And this is kind of like, thank you for supporting it, like the greatest hits tour, but not like the sort of victory lap and waving and just giving you, at least to this point, exactly what you want, the rewards for reading it.
Mm-hmm. And you get the nice little last bender, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
them drawing on his face. Yeah. I'm glad I never was the guy that fell asleep first, man. Like,
yeah. It's a nice little touch, a nice little last hurrah, right, for the gang.
But not all is perfectly well, man. Because Steven, he's reminiscing, looking at old photographs with his husband, and oh man, somebody's wiping out the old gang. What will the Bridge Club think? God damn it!
Shoop. Both gone.
Meanwhile, we kind of switch back to Helmut, and he gets a call. He gets a big job, and like, guess who's on the market, man? He gets a hit for Shabnab. So, like, that's all going down in 2008 with Barack Obama coming to bring change.
Yeah, that was his first term, right? 2008. He got elected for the first time.
Yep. Straight up. And we kind of see Maria. They're doing a little better. Marcus has like written a book. He's published, but they don't have money yet. She's still taking care of kids, but like her pain hasn't subsided, man. It's actually kind of getting worse at this point. Marcus has a big signing though, man. It's his first book signing ever, and he kind of shows up and he realizes at first, man, nobody cares. It's kind of tragic, dude. But like, he gets one guy that comes and meets him, but his one fan's kind of a dick. He's like, your book was okay, but I prefer hard sci-fi.
Yeah. A backhanded compliment.
Meanwhile, Helmet's watching basically watching Brandy and Shabnab watch Marcus. Shabnab and Brandy are up to something, and like basically, but they're not wanting to work on Marcus just yet. So Helmet goes for his big hit on a Shab, and man, I hate this, but like, it doesn't quite work out. Brandy catches him and like basically taunts him for being Petra's boyfriend, and kind of kills him in the way Petra killed people. Kills him with the chlorine bomb. Meanwhile, like, you get Zenzali and Tashawi, like, they're talking to reporters, trying to get them to believe them that Brandy Lynn and Shabnab are killing people, but the reporter isn't quite believing them yet. And man, I love this scene where Zenzali like picks up the desk and is like threatening them to believe her, and she's like, "I'm sorry, man. Sometimes the voice just takes over."
But going back to Helmet's death, you know, like, do you think it went through his head like, this is what Petra did to Willie, and this is why Marcus, you know, like realizing like how much pain Willie went through before he died, and realizing this is why Marcus had a hard time forgiving Petra for what she did to Willie?
I don't think so.
Not Willie, Billy. Sorry, Billy. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's on. I mean, how much agency can you put on manipulated young people?
I think Helmet died thinking these people are pathetic because they're aping him about something that he moved on from that happened in high school.
Yeah.
And like, that's all that they can ever like live. And like, he has a wife and kids. Sure, he still wanted to kill Shab, but like, it didn't. I don't even know if he even really like had anything to do with Petra in his mind anymore. You know what I mean? It was just something he had to do.
Just a chapter that was in his life that he learned from and made him who he is, but he doesn't dwell on it type thing.
It's a cheap shot, wasn't it? That's all it was.
Yeah. I was just wondering if you guys had an opinion on that. Cool.
And also, Joe, the criticism defines the critic, not the recipient.
There you go. Oh, what's this one? Oh, Trump gets elected.
Yep. Going up the golden escalator. And Marcus, his book is huge, man. His book series, Lone Star, it's ginormous, and he is getting his show optioned by the Crime Network. And Marcus isn't happy about this. He wants a better network. And
network, yeah.
And this is Rick completely being a miser about what happened with the Deadly Class show. He is being meta as fuck in the sequence of the book, man. And
it's funny you say that because here's my. Can I enlarge in my notes? No. Here's my notes. I had a few, but that was one of my notes in. Let's see. Is it blurred? Meta as fuck is exactly what I wrote in my notes. So it's funny you say that.
But I love this sequence because Marcus is being all down and he's like not into it until he actually sees like the actor come out in costume and like he's blown away. He's like actually kind of hopeful for his show for a little bit. And it's kind of a neat up and down. And like he goes back to California. He's in San Francisco with Maria and like has to do the car commercial. And like Honda wants him to say that this car is the most punk rock car you can drive. And he's like, fuck no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing it. Like they're like, you have to, otherwise they're not going to make the show. So like he's riding in this car with this interviewer telling him basically like, yeah, dude, like I was here in '89 in the Loma Prieta earthquake. And like they're like, oh really? Was that scary for you? Like, yeah, I was in an underground school for assassins at the time, trying not to get killed. And they're like, oh Marcus, you're so funny. Like, meanwhile he's seeing all his dead friends basically like, really, dude, you're in a punk rock car. That's what you're doing with your future, Marcus. That's what we're doing in 2015. And he's just kind of like, yeah, pretty much. I love that sequence.
Yeah. But it's for sure, eh? That was all about Deadly Class and him. He dedicated a whole issue to trying to, about Deadly Class and how that went down.
Well, do you think with Marcus and with Remender in that case, do you think that's out of principle or do you think that is out of self-indulgence?
I think it's something anybody would do, put in that spot. Like I try to talk a big game, but I guarantee you, like if I had my show going like that, and like I remember it wasn't a car, it was Saya's motorcycle. They had advertisements for it, like when I'd watch it on Sci-Fi Channel, and I would be like, yeah, sure. Like if they're gonna pay for like half the show, like yeah, we'll do a crappy Suzuki commercial. Like might as well. I wouldn't say that the bike was punk rock though, because that's dumb. Like that's just a stupid fucking thing to say that like, oh, anything like that's inanimate and like it is a consumer product to try to call it like just blatantly like, oh, it's a punk rock. Like it's a bad.
I mean, the suits marketing people don't really have a firm grasp on cultural relevance to things. They're like, what's cool now? Let's put it in there and say it's that, even though it has,
I think as well there is brand recognition, and that it's not like peak Walking Dead where you can pick and choose because the Walking Dead is the brand that isn't the beast, not the parasite. But whereas Deadly Class ultimately only got one series because people didn't watch it enough, and the brand recognition, they're attaching themselves to a bigger brand, and maybe it would have just been smarter to. That's what I would say. Like. It's not like the actual program was being affected, is it? I mean, suck it up is what I think. Suck it up, boyo.
But what a tragedy. Not a tragedy, but what a shame that this show couldn't go on. Because the casting was so good. The show itself was with minor criticisms. It wasn't a perfect show, but it was a fucking good adaptation. I mean,
it was better than like 9 out of 10 of the other attempts. So things like fucking Resident Alien Why would you even try and make that story if you're just going to shit on it and use the name? Nobody knows what Resident Alien is enough to be the draw to it. You've got Tudyk in it, being the alien guy. You've got this really gentle, soft, sort of fish out of water alien that's adopted like a human form to blend in. And it's this slice of life, and he's a doctor, and he's ingratiating himself with the community, but some children can hear him, and it's got that little sci-fi edge to it because the government, and it's a very sweet, nice, enjoyable slice of life with the sci-fi twist. The shit show that the Sci-Fi Channel turned it into, if you want to make that program, make that fucking program, but don't steal the only opportunity I've got to see Resident Alien on the screen. And if you're telling me this is the only opportunity, then I'm good, thank you very much. I'll gratefully decline your offer of Resident Alien.
I think Resident Alien's a good show, man. I think it's pretty funny. I actually.
Well, I used to think you were a good person.
But I think maybe this.
Have you read the comics, though, Johnny?
Yeah, I think I mean, like, it's not a great adaptation, but like, in my opinion, it's like a lot like the Lucifer show or the iZombie show or all the other adaptation shows that aren't like Deadly Class and a few others that actually try to go for what the comic book was.
But I think this, like you said, there are so many other shows, and this was at the peak of just production houses just throwing darts at comic properties, hoping one of them was going to be The Walking Dead, kind of like Nirvana, right? All these fucking guys went out trying to sign all these bands trying to be the next Nirvana, and I think Deadly Class is a victim of the success of other shows, like, let's say, The Walking Dead, where Sci-Fi was just trying to get that next Walking Dead, and so many companies were trying to get that next hit, right? And I think it just got maybe lost in the fold, where people were just, there's too many things out there, and it didn't get enough eyes on it, and, you know.
Well, it's the Die Hard situation, isn't it? The only of any of the Die Hard films that were written to be a Die Hard film was Die Hard. All the other ones were spec scripts that they just put Die Hard number 2, Die Hard number 3, 4, 5, 6 on it. I think that's what it was. Like, someone like Sci-Fi had a budget for 10 TV programs, and one of them wants to be a comedy science fiction. So they probably already have the remit for it, and they go, oh, what's an interesting IP that we can jump onto the bandwagon with? Let's stamp this with that.
Yeah.
And ruin Matthew's day. Ruined it.
Yeah. All that to be said is definitely, man, go check out that one and only season of Deadly Class, because it's really good.
So good. So good. But it will make you sad by the end of it, knowing that it's only one.
Over, yeah, that it's over. Yeah, that's the
So
saddest
sad.
part of that whole show. Yeah.
So we jump ahead. I think this is like to a modern time, like during the pandemic. They're Marcus and Maria. They're kind of like in this island getaway. They're having a good time, and Marcus is talking about how he's going to end his book. He's just going to kill everybody off, and end it in the most depressing way, which I kind of I think is hella funny, because like that's kind of how I thought Rick Remender was going to end this book. But you see that Marcus has kids, man. We've jumped that far ahead in time, and like him and Maria, they're playing in the waves, having a good old time. Meanwhile, you see Saya is having people keep tabs on Marcus and Maria. And you find out that basically she also knows that Shabnab and Brandy are going to try to kill Marcus and Maria on that island that night. And Saya decides that instead of trying to help anybody, she's going to go do a bunch of heroin and have a good old time.
Did you think where she puts on her like claw and she jumps on the bike and it says, "I won't be needing you tonight"? Did you think that she was on her way to help them in like a final stand?
I did.
Like,
Yeah.
I did. I really did. And it disappointed me, the bitch.
Well, especially because while she's all smacked up, she's having dreams of herself as Maria, playing with the kids in the water with Marcus and stuff like that. And sadly, she wakes up and like goes home, and you find out like she's with Jayla and stuff. Well, after she beats up a bum, like Saya's not. she's had some bad times, man. Like Saya's not in a good place at this point in her life, kind of.
No.
But she is hooked up with Jyla, but not for long because after coming home from her fun night, Shab's waiting for her and snipe. Goodbye, Saya.
Do you know what? Even having only read this week, you showing me that shocked me.
Well, I mean, I got a question for you, kind of one of Joe's hypotheticals, man. Like, let's say that Saya decided not to go and decapitate Kinji, and like her and Marcus decided to have a go with it. Do you think that it would have ended up anywhere near as successful as Maria and Marcus's relationship?
Who knows? Because like last time, say if Marcus hadn't have found Maria, where would Marcus be now? So I think there is something specific, nomadic and despotic about Saya and Marcus. I think Maria is the thing that anchors Marcus, and I think Saya and Marcus apart or then together would not have the same effect. I don't think that's the anchor. I think the anchor was Maria.
Yeah, I don't think it would have worked. I don't think, because Saya is too much a product of that system, like what's King's Dominion and all that. Like, she wanted to be the valedictorian. She felt comfortable within that type of system and lifestyle, whereas Maria and Marcus were trying to escape that. So they fit together so much better, and they'd have less conflict of interest than, let's say, Saya and Marcus. Because Marcus is so much like an anti-establishment, whereas Saya just wants to run the establishment, right? So, I mean, I don't know. There's just too many conflicting things between Saya and him. I don't know if they could have overcome that, or if it would have just been one of those toxic relationships where they just, just are like venom for each other,
Yeah. And at this point, what bad actors are in Marcus's life? He's intentionally left it behind and trying to keep away from it. Whereas say will always have unresolved history and unresolved trauma, that there's always going to be that hook to pull her one way. Whereas Maria and Marcus, they both just really, as you perfectly put, Joe, this is what they tried to do at the beginning of the midway point of this story, and they got dragged back in by circumstance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I don't think Marcus and Saya were ever going to be like a perfect match. Maybe they could have been like that sex scene showed, like the intense flame that, it's good for that one moment of intense passion, and then leave it there and walk away, because over the long term they're just going to destroy each other.
And it's a really well written love triangle that doesn't lean on traditional models too much, which again would be a really easy way to shoot it. It doesn't throw either approval or disdain on any of the characters, and really appreciates that the triangle is situational, environmental. So, like, again, I mean, it's just another string in the bow of a perfectly written title.
So, Johnny, seeing as how you love this character, Saya was one of your favorite characters. How did you feel about her arc, how it ends and everything, and how Remender brought this to a conclusion?
Oh man, it depressed me because like I really liked her character, and it's sad because like much like Victor, she was one of the few characters that actually had a clear goal. And like if Marcus didn't show up at that school, she would have been like ruling the underworld. You know what I mean? It's like, but like the way things played out, like it derailed everything, and she ended up dying like a sad junkie. You know what I mean? It's a really good story arc. I think that it was a brave one to take, but at the same time, like as a big fan of the character, like I think it's true to the character. I don't think that like he betrayed her in any way, but like with how a lot of the other characters kind of end up in the story, like I'm a little pissed that Saya got such a short stick.
Yeah.
But one of the main three had to get something like this happen to him. Yeah. Plus, at this point, we still think Marcus and Maria could have gotten killed too, because Marcus is fat and not good at anything besides whining anymore, and Maria's got fibromyalgia or whatever. So
Yeah, and I agree. I completely agree with you because Saya was obviously a fan favorite throughout the series, right? I think a lot of people love that character, and to see Rick Remender go this route with her, and I don't know if this is like kind of her end that he had in his mind the whole time, or if it evolved over time. It's hard to say because I haven't read any interviews about it. But like, I don't know if what was what did you see on social media when this happened? Like, was there outcry? Was there like, how was it perceived?
I was pretty ready for it though. I knew that she was going to die after she saved Master Lin in the first arc of this, but I don't remember anybody really talking about it too much online. It didn't get super spoiled for me the way she got killed. I didn't find out about it until I actually read the trade and saw how it happened for myself. You know what I mean? There wasn't super amount of discourse because I think that it was a very well earned and perfect part of the story. You know what I mean?
I think you can be sad or disappointed, but I think it's like you said, it makes perfect sense for the character, and you know, it's not a reach. It's not like it fits, right? And tragic as it is, it definitely fits the story.
Did you think anybody was going to survive at this point? Because this was a turning for me. I thought they're all gone now. I really thought this is how he's going to end the story.
Yeah, I thought that Rick was actually gonna, because like he is that type of guy that like he has written several books where the bad guys win and the good guys all die. Like that Crawl Space Zombies comic I was talking about. Like all the characters, like horrible fucking things happen to all of them. You know what I mean? And it's kind of one of his lighthearted books. So like I thought that he was definitely going to end this one on a much downer note than he does.
And of course, we open up the next chapter. With Brandy, right?
Yeah.
Politicking.
Yeah. Straight up. And basically, after her big speech where she's like locked down the candidate for Republican president, she meets with Shab in the car. And we basically see that Shabnab has become to Brandy what Grogata was to Shab. He just sits there and runs her down all the time, pretty much, man. And like, she tries to defend herself, but like they've almost he's almost recreated his childhood relationship, but with a different partner, and now he is the wicked one. You know what I mean? The one that's always dragging them down. Which I mean, if it was anybody besides Brandy, you'd probably care. But this scene with her looking in the mirror, it kind of gave her some character, a little more than I think she deserves. But like, I think it was great of Rick and Wes to do. You know what I mean? Almost make you feel a little sorry for her. Like I be young and pretty. You know what I mean? And look at me, I'm old, and I got this piece of shit telling me I'm no good anymore. You know what I mean? But she doesn't get to dwell on that for too long, because fully decked out and full garb, Maria shows up and just starts beating her ass like she owes her money. Like,
yeah, when you see the face of death, man, you know your days are numbered. When you see the face of death, I've mentioned it, I think, on the last episode. I was like, when Maria puts that on, you're done. I mean, I'm sorry, it's over. Count your days, because
she doesn't want to be a killer, but when she is, she's a force of nature with it, man.
Yeah, she's committed.
And basically, her and Marcus, they get Shab and Brandy tied up in a room, and they basically tell them, like, we're not going to kill you, man. Like, basically, like, one of you gets to walk out of the room alive. They leave one sword and tell her and Shab, like, hey, you guys fight it out. And I love it, man. And Brandy comes escaping out of the room with a bloody ass sword just in time to see that the news has come out, and the reporter that took Tashawi and Zizali's story has broken it wide open, and like everything Brandy's ever been involved in has come to light, man. She's completely ruined. And like, the FBI come in, and she's like yelling racist stuff at him while they're arresting her. Like, a great ending for fucking Brandy, man. I love it.
I liked that it took 10 years as well. It was carefully seeded 10 years prior to that, because she was going for Senate, wasn't she? And this was a presidential run. That it was very carefully positioned to not only to give it time for them to find the information, but for it to have the greatest impact.
Yeah,
Yes.
like most things in life, people hold on to things till, you know,
Yeah,
it has
yeah.
a bigger headline, right? Do I want the front page or do I want a little headline on the inside of the paper? I'll hold on to this until it's front page worthy, right? People are like that. They're so devious in their fucking.
Thankfully, Joe, yes.
And they were able to take her out so she's not martyred. You know what I mean? Because if they had just assassinated her, like people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
State did
nice
it. You know
touch.
what I mean? Yeah. So
yeah, and they're laughing about it in the car. So perfect and laughing about. Yeah, it's great. I like that.
they get up, and like they were going to leave him well enough alone, man. Marcus and Maria were going to just be fat and happy and have kids and stuff. And kind of be rich, you know, in their later life, but like they had to send those people to the island, man. And like Marcus had to go get cut again, and Maria like had to get decked out, and like one last goodbye, and we end on this really touching, beautiful Christmas scene, which weird, like, but like it really fits with the season we're doing this episode in. Like it ends in full Christmas scene where, like the gang is back at school and they're going from Denny's to Denny's getting the free Grand Slam breakfast that you get, I guess, at Denny's on the Christmas. And they're all weighing the moral ambiguity of doing such a thing while Marcus goes into one of his normal tirades. And even Petra's like, come on, man, you're making even the goth girl tell you shut up, you're being goth. And like Marcus kind of keeps going and going until he just gets to his point where he's just like, what I'm trying to say, man, is like,
what's going on? What was that?
I don't know.
You all right there, Matt? What's
No, I'm fine. What happens?
I don't know. It sounded like you're getting electrocuted.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I heard the noise and then Johnny just went quiet, and then I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it sounded like you're getting electrocuted or something, or I don't know. It was weird.
Who knows? Maybe I was.
Well, Marcus says, "I love you, man. I love you guys." You know what I mean? He actually like had his family at that moment. You know what I mean? And actually some of it would be his family for life. You know what I mean? And they kind of all laugh at him, and he's like, "But I'm being serious." And they're like, "Yeah, I know that. And that's why we love you." And I like it, man. I like that Rick was like, even in the book, he referenced that like during the pandemic, he was going to change the way he ended his story. And I liked it. Like he was like, okay, I don't believe in happy endings still. And like these characters, they still die like anybody else. But like I picked a kind of bright spot to end their story on. And I thought that was the best way he could do it, man.
And this last one, man. Ending. And that's the only splash page for the year that he didn't make a reference was 2023.
Because it was like he kind of
ended in 2022.
Yeah, he didn't like there wasn't actually anything to put there yet. You know what I mean? Like
so they didn't want to try to prophesize something, or
yeah, he could have tried to guess and had somebody like draw like a bored ape on there or something, and like it.
Yeah.
Who knows if like it would represent the year or not? So I guess they just left well enough alone.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Then at the end of this deluxe edition, you get like usual all the variant covers throughout the 12 issues.
Throw up that Jeff Decal Saya cover, man. I think it's
which Jeff Decal?
Yeah, Jeff Decal.
Let's see. Saya, which one is that? Is that where she's from behind?
Yeah, man, you know it. It's
looking
like
over her shoulder. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, that's a good one.
One of the greatest covers for the series, man. Like fucking Jeff Decal is so good, man. Good and stuff. I love how they were able to dress her like the Punisher through most of the series and like never got shit from Marvel from it. Like she's got the bullet belt and like half the time she's actually wearing a Punisher t-shirt. You know what I mean? Like I love that they were able
to
character.
Let's not forget the most important page. Where am I? There you go.
The end. And what an end it was. Like I thought this was an extremely satisfying close to the series. I honestly couldn't think of any changes you can make to make it better. Honestly, myself personally, it just seemed perfect to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no ifs, ands, or buts, or what if, or like we have what ifs for sure, but I think it was great, perfect, and
one thing I did hear people online complain about is that some people thought they really ran through the downfall of King's Dominion. Like, did you feel that at all? I thought that I thought that they spent the perfect amount of time on uncovering it.
I don't think so, because I think the earthquake itself, like, an earthquake is short, it's quick. You can't stretch an earthquake out for 2 issues. It's impossible. An earthquake lasts what, seconds or at most? You know, so I think it was perfect. They get there. There's an escalation, which lasted that whole scene where they're chasing Lynn. That was almost 2 issues worth of them chasing the teachers down, trying to kill them. And the earthquake is the thing that brought an end to it all. He had a standoff with Lynn. Had a standoff with both Marcus and the other guy, the nunchuck dude,
Steven.
Then he kind of gets away because Saya comes and slashes Marcus in the back. So then he kind of gets away. Then Marcus comes back and has a standoff with Saya. I mean, it didn't feel rushed at all. Like, there was a lot going on there.
One thing I could get with people that said that, maybe because like when I first was reading this, I didn't think that it was going to go so far ahead into the future. I actually thought the story would wrap up with them at the school as kids. You know what I mean? I did not think that it would take, the ending would take the trajectory that it did, but I think that it's all the better for it, because I hate when books do what I expect them to do, and the fact that the book went.
And if they made that any longer, it would have just been ponderous. You have to think about.
Yeah, exactly. We already got
how expedient that. You're talking about assassins. You're talking about like just people going ham on each other with like deadly weapons. I mean, what do you want? Like, that is precisely how this situation should be portrayed. Not like standing there fucking monologuing, because their mindset is get the people, kill the people. Job done. And also, there's a lot of people that are almost scenery in there, because there's only maybe 10 people that they're actually going to kill. Most of that happens off screen or off page. So we have like 3 big battles, which should go pretty fucking quickly, because the most skilled aggressor will win that. Yeah, it's perfectly handled. Like I said, any more would have been ponderous, unnecessarily ponderous.
We got 44 issues of these teenagers in that fucking school. How much more did you want? 56. You know what I mean? Like, 56. No. Like, the whole series is 56, but the 3 first volumes are 44 pages of them, and the next 12 to close it out, they do have flashbacks where they're as teenagers and adults. So that you still get some, but man, this is my big criticism. Like, maybe these people love Big 2 books where things just, they rehash the same fucking story over and over. This is what I like about independent books, because they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You get a conclusion. You don't get Bruce Wayne that's constantly in his late 30s fucking playboy guy who's going around and beating up the Joker every 3 years, you know? Like, I mean, there's an evolution to the story, to the characters themselves. Like, I mean, I don't want that. I love the way he did it. And you get still a little taste of the teenage stuff because he has those flashbacks that kind of put the present day situation into context, right? So I loved it. I loved the way he handled it. And man, I think that was my favorite. My favorite deluxe edition was the final one, because I thought it wrapped it. Yes, I loved it, man. Like, but I couldn't enjoy it as much if the other 3 weren't there beforehand. So it's a whole package, right? The whole thing for me is a complete package. Like, I'd
have to go with the second collected being the best one.
Yeah,
I think all in all, the series is perfect. I couldn't ask for a better ending. Like I said, I think Rick really sticks him. Like, he sticks his land very well.
But this is why I love it so much, because so many creators have a hard time sticking that landing, and it's so refreshing and awesome to have a creator that sticks the landing so well. That's why I love this 4th edition so much.
Sorry, let me ask a question. How necessary? I know the thing's called Deadly Class, but it's like Christmas films that aren't Christmas films, like Die Hard. It's at Christmas, but if you take Christmas out, does it change the film? If you take King's Dominion out of this, how much does it change the story?
It doesn't that much, really. You can
think
put something else in its place, right? I mean,
just these guys are just friends and they're really talented. Like they're just a group of friends.
Because it's a group of friends that you could put like King's Dominion is a catalyst,
really play
right?
A part outside of the first 5 or 6.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah, it's like Harry Potter on steroids sort of thing. And then after that,
I think at the time Rick was just trying to like see if he could do all the different types of storylines, because at that time he was just doing like all different kinds of sci-fi, and I think I don't really get Harry Potter from it. It reminds me a lot more of like shonen anime, like with the school, like stuff like the Melting Classroom, and like there are several like mangas about the school like this, and I think that like he really kind of wanted to dip his toe into that kind of storytelling, and I don't know which came first, but like there is a Japanese comic that's almost like this called Assassination Classroom. Horrible comic though. I do not recommend it. But like I don't know who kind of came up with it first, but like I remember seeing them both around at the same time. And I would actually love to see an anime of this. I would like to see like Madhouse or somebody, like kind of like, I think that would be the perfect way to, like, if they try to adapt this again, it'd be the only way I would actually really like to see it. You know what I mean? Because the TV show's done. I don't want to see them try that again. But I think an anime would be fucking beautiful for this.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be impossible now because all the actors would have aged up too much. Like it's just not possible, is it?
Yeah. But if you do an anime, you could just have them do the voice work.
Oh yeah. I mean, in terms of like a live action continuation wouldn't even be a consideration.
You'd have to restart it with new cast and
Well, I suppose you just thought you could just sort of grandfather the first season and then just tack it on, sort of thing. But why would you?
We're pulling 90210 and just have 30-year-old actors playing 16-year-olds.
Man, I don't know how Rick feels about adaptations. I haven't heard any of his other stuff getting picked up, and he seems really down about him now. Plus, because like the two that he's had, like I think Deadly Class was a good show, but I think the experience really rubbed him the wrong way. And then his other one, Last Days of American Crime, horrible adaptation. I feel so bad for him about that one. Didn't come out so good. So like I think he might have like gone that Alan Moore route, and I don't know if he's down to adapt his shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
well, just recently, hey, Jeff Lemire, did you read one of his posts just recently? Like after Sweet Tooth started, he's like, I got inspired to write another Sweet Tooth story, and he wrote another. Like when Netflix was producing it, it inspired him, and then after the Essex Count, like then all of a sudden he puts a post, I don't think I'll ever adapt one of my other things to screen ever again, any of my work to screen ever again, you know?
For me personally, I think I think just the other side of Jeff Lemire. So when you're thinking about Jeff Lemire's 2012, 2015 sort of introduction, I think the ones after that are less precious. And I think because they're not commodifying their work before they write it, I think because it's in retrospect that Jeff Lemire, Rick Remender are doing it, that it feels more a more foreign experience. But I think for the new guys, it's almost writing for them to be picked up, and that's the only way they can get their money. So I think with that, there's an acceptance for it to deviate from the script. My opinion is you're selling it. Your work's being commodified. You just hand it over and go fish, because I mean otherwise it's.
I could have told them that Essex County wasn't going to work in live action, man. Like that book, it's too quirky, man. Like if anything, they should have tried to animate it in Jeff Lemire's style. I think that could have been cute. But like in live action, it did not sound like a plan. It would work to me. I knew that they'd adapt it. They did put too many twists into the characters, and they did, man. Like it.
Oh, has it already been out?
Well, you're not
didn't know
supposed
that.
to be able to see it in America yet, but like I
Okay.
did. I watched it at the library,
Okay.
as I like to
Okay.
say.
And also, I think some guys are just better at it than others. Some just write really good comics, and I think whether or not you like Walking Dead at all, or past the third season, or the fifth season, or whatnot, or Invincible, Robert Kirkman is a more of a bigger scale manager with what's it like Skybound and whatnot. Like he had stepped up into that management role a lot easier, and he seems to be able to keep everything in. And he's not.
He's Captain Commercial Properties now, right? Doesn't he like run all the Hasbro comics?
Yeah, they got that the licensing for all that. Yeah,
man, I'm counting the days till like they sell Ninja Turtles to Image. I guarantee you that's going next, man.
Possibly, but yeah. I mean, I'd never read this. This is my first read through of Deadly Class, and I gotta say, thoroughly impressed. Loved it. It rates right up there with some of my favorites, which will be Matt picked the next series that we're going to cover on the Sunday Spank. And I've got to say, I love this pick. Yeah, I love the pick. It's going to be fantastic. Did you download that pick?
Oh,
Johnny?
The thumbnail? No, that you made?
No? Okay. That's all right. So we're going to do it in 3 parts. But there's 3 deluxe editions of East of West.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do a 3-part series. Yeah, 3-part series on East of West. That'll be our next Sunday Spank with Matt. We're going to cover the entire series of East of West. And that one I have read before, and I loved it. So I can't wait to chop it up and talk about that one, man.
It's the only book better than Deadly Class, man. It's number 1. Deadly Class is my number 2. So.
But I think this will be your first read through, right, Matt?
Yes, it will.
Nice.
And I'm very enthusiastic about clearing up some oversized hardcovers that would have otherwise remained on my shelf.
There we go. So I'm looking forward to that one. Another great choice. So I think we're picking some hits for our first for our Deadly Spank series, man.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this so much. Yeah, just thank you both for putting this together and to having me on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would like to just embrace it going forward for East of West, and long may it continue. Huzzah!
Yeah. So thanks to everyone who tuned in for our 4 parts on Deadly Class. I hope you enjoyed it. We thoroughly enjoyed it, so that's really all that matters. But if you guys enjoyed it as well, that's a bonus. So, man, thanks for tuning in and watching it on the replay or whatever. So, yeah, East of West is next.
What are we doing on Tuesday, Joe, or Monday?
Tuesday at 8 o'clock, we're going to be doing our 2nd episode of Caged Love. And Cookie, when we're talking, we decided to go with Trapped in Paradise because it's kind of a Christmas movie, so it'll be seasonal for our 2nd episode of our Nick Cage series, Caged Love. Yeah, Tuesday, the 19th of December at 8 p.m. East.
And then at the end of the week, we're going to be doing our Naughty and Nice, our 3rd annual. Yeah. And we're going to have a packed house for that one, man. We're
L, Cookie, Saint, Phil, Juan. Am I missing anyone? Goose, I think. Is there anyone else? I think that's it.
Is Adrian on?
No, he can't make it. He has a Christmas party that night. So, yeah.
Well, that makes it immediately less enticing for me.
Yeah, so that'll be our we do it every year since we started the show. We do our Naughty or Nice. It's kind of our version of our best of end of year. So yeah, and that'll probably be at 9 p.m. East start time to help accommodate everyone for the in the West Coast.
Pow. All right then, I'll holler at you guys later.
Have a great week, everyone.